Thrifting has been a little rough this week. Some days you go in, you find tons of stuff, but sometimes you walk out with absolutely nothing. I think it's important to talk about that because a lot of reselling content makes it seem like it's constantly finding carts full of amazing finds and tons of profit. But the reality is some days there's just not much out there. And usually that's okay. I think it's better to focus on quality over quantity. The good news is I have tons of stuff sitting around waiting to be listed. If you haven't seen my video about that, I'll put a link to it right up here. I just saw a video from Justin Resells this week. Got a great channel, tons of great information, and it got me thinking about some of the tools that I use most. So today I'm going to share with you my list of must-have tools to have in your reselling toolbox. Some of these things do overlap with Justin's list, and I think that really speaks to their value, but I've added a few items to my list that have really helped me drive more profit out of the thrift stores. I've been thrifting for a while, and this first tool on my list is something that's changed the way I approach thrift stores more than anything else. And that first tool is Google Lens. If you're not already using it, it's something I recommend getting on your phone home screen today. With just a quick photo, Google Lens can usually pretty accurately identify an item, or at least give you a great starting point to begin your research. I use this tool multiple times a day when I'm out thrifting. I'll often take a wide shot of the item. I also love to take a picture of content and style tags. Even if it doesn't pull up the right item immediately, you can long press the numbers and letters of that style code on your screen and copy and paste it straight into a search bar rather than typing it all out. It's also really amazing for foreign language tags and labels. It can immediately translate languages right there on your screen so that you can read the labels. Is it perfect? No. Google Lens saves me a ton of guesswork, and it really helps me evaluate items quickly when I'm in the thrift store. Next up is an item that was actually number one on Justin's list, and that's for a good reason. My thermal label printer has saved me a ton of time. When I first started selling, I was printing out labels on a crappy home printer, and then eventually eBay did start offering a downloadable QR that you could scan at the post office, and I love that. But the main problem there is the post office. I'm sure we've all been stuck in a long line at the post office, and dropping off one or two items might take 15 or 20 minutes. And if you're using the downloadable QRs, it's not impossible to mix up your packages if you don't pre-mark them before taking them to the post office. Now I print my labels off at home, seal my packages, and drop them off. Every time I walk past a long line of people at the post office and just drop my packages, I'm reminded how valuable that little printer is. A lot of items end up at thrift stores for a reason, especially the Goodwill outlet, and that's because of stains and other small imperfections. And because of that, I think a lot of resellers pass on those items, but I think that creates a lot of opportunity. And that's where OxyClean comes in. This is not an ad, I promise. This is something I use all the time, and I've been able to bring a lot of items back to life with some really simple cleaning processes. For clothing, hats, and shoes, I love using this powder version. They also make this gel spray version, which is great for smaller stains and for cleaning sensitive areas like the inside lining of purses or jackets. I like using the powder version because I can do a group of items at one time, and I also don't have to really mess with it that much. It's really simple. You just throw a scoop into a tub, add enough hot water to cover the items, and then let those things soak for 30 or 40 minutes. Then I rinse them and throw them in the washing machine. Usually really low effort for a pretty good payoff. I would mention to use some caution. This is a really powerful cleaner, and things with colorful dyes or certain materials I've had some kind of bad results with. My quick tip would be to set a timer on your phone. I find that 30 to 40 minute window is usually when you know if something's going to come clean or not, and leaving it in there longer I think creates a little bit more chance for issues. I always assume there's some level of risk whenever I'm cleaning an item like this, so I make sure I'm comfortable taking the gamble on the item. Most of the time I'm doing this on things I find at the bins, so it's really low cost to begin with, but I think that extra effort can really be worth it. Next up is another item that was also on Justin's list, and that's my digital scale. Knowing the exact weight of your items before you buy your shipping labels can really make a big difference over time in how much you spend on your shipping costs. I use my scale constantly for testing out different packaging and shipping options. If I'm sending out an item of clothing that's over 1 pound, sometimes one of the flat rate mailing envelopes can be a better option. It saves me money and it's a better experience for the customer. Being out on one of the coasts means I pay a lot of attention to shipping costs. If I'm sending something to the East Coast, a difference of just a few ounces can mean a difference of a few dollars. In reselling with lots of transactions, those small savings can add up really quickly.
Let me show you a quick example.
So these are going to Massachusetts. I'm in Tacoma, all the way across the country. If you input the weight and package details, $10 to ship 1 pound, 7 ounces in just a plain poly bag. But if I go in here and go to a flat rate envelope, it's $8.90. So I'm saving $1.10 here. If I do this multiple times a month, obviously that adds up quite a bit. This next one might sound really obvious, but stay with me. It's your senses. As resellers, we handle thousands of items over time, and eventually you develop some instincts. Think about your favorite sweatshirt or your favorite pair of jeans. Imagine the details of a higher end piece that you own. You know those textures and you recognize them instantly. The same thing happens when you're out thrifting. You'll touch something and you'll immediately think, this feels expensive. And a lot of times you're right. A great example is a brand like Lululemon. A lot of their items often have the size and brand tags pulled off of them. But if you've handled enough of it, you recognize the material and where to look for those details. One way to train your senses is by handling those items out in the real world. Take a trip to the mall and look at what styles and brands are out there. Try to remember the logos. Touch the fabrics and examine the construction. This will help you recognize those details when you see them in the thrift store. I also love following content creators who are tracking fashion and vintage trends. And of course, there's a bunch of great YouTube channels out there where resellers are constantly talking about brands to be on the lookout for. Some of my favorite ones are Frizzy's Finds, Rad Resells, and Hustle at Home Mom. Now I want to talk about some items that deserve some honorable mention. And the first thing is Amazon boxes. If your house is like mine, these are showing up on your doorstep all the time. This is a great way to keep your shipping costs down and reduce some waste. I reuse these all the time. If you do run out of boxes, thrift stores often have stacks of boxes in the back, and they'll give these to you for free. 10 by 13 poly bags are another tool I keep on hand. They work great for most clothing items. I bulk order these from Amazon, and I do recommend getting the thicker mill versions. It's a better experience for you and your customer. Another item I always use is tape, and it's the worst when you run out of it. I also order this in bulk, plus you'll get another box for shipping. And finally, I want to talk about my banana box. It's a simple item that came from a Costco trip, and it's become one of my most useful tools. I load it up with all my items to take to the post office, and then I fill it up with items I thrift.
It's got sturdy handles so I never fumble my packages or items.
It's simple, but it works, and that's kind of my philosophy on reselling. Finding small efficiencies for the lowest possible cost. Because when you stack enough of those efficiencies together, your whole operation gets faster, easier, and more profitable. Really hope you enjoyed this look at some of the tools I use in my reselling process. Hope it gave you some good ideas. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I'll be back soon with some more in-the-moment thrifting action. Hopefully the thrift god's gonna be something great to show you, and I'll see you next time.